$1 million question. When you're doing all this, how do you deal with the bathroom situation?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Uber and everything.
Yeah, well, just eating all these delicious food and then having to like figure it out.
Like if I was eating tacos, but I got hit the toilet. No, actually I don't. And then when I do, like to help with digestion and everything, I drink what is it? It's a salt and vinegar. Apple cider vinegar and water.
Does that help?
Heartburn and like digestion and everything like that.
Yeah.
So and then I don't like it's like, especially sweet, because I don't do a lot of sweets.
Okay.
I don't eat the whole thing.
Right. That'd be difficult.
Like, a little bit of stuff like that, and that's why like a lot of times I like to bring people with me because it'd be so much.
Yeah.
You gotta share it.
I don't have to really. Yeah, and if I do have to use the bathroom, I just go to the bathroom, or like I'll stop somewhere or something. I don't know. Planet Fitness maybe. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I take a shower there too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's the thing about like crashing my car like at a Walmart or whatever, somewhere 24 hours, and I had my membership, so that's I can use the Planet Fitness. I've actually used it nationwide.
Yeah,
that is genius right there.
I've actually used it nationwide, and you go in, you work out or whatever, you take a shower and stuff like that.
The fifth of him because there ain't no joke.
Traveling around the country, trying new foods everywhere. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's one man's reality. NBC 26's Jenna Bree introduces us to the Rideshare Foodie.
A traveling food blogger recently visited Alaska to explore local food.
One man is on a mission to travel across the U.S. and meet new people, explore different cultures, and try new foods. That journey has brought him to the coastal bend. And Kreskin Torres is a food blogger from San Antonio. He started traveling across the U.S. in February of 2018. Hawaii was his last stop, and so far, he's visited 49 states.
All right. Drink tokens number 36. And
all right. Special guest here, yeah.
Hey, how's everybody doing? This is Kreskin J Torres from Baltimore, Maryland, the Rideshare Foodie. Traveling across America, eating all 50 states while driving Uber.
That's dope. Yeah, let's get a big round of applause right there.
Yeah. I first saw this guy like a year ago in the Bay Area, KPIX. And they did a big segment on you. Because I think you were coming through Stockton, right? About a year ago.
Yeah. I was working my way up. I spent like 2 months. So I would take 2 months to go through Cali. It's usually when people fly out to Cali, is usually LA. That's usually, but I'm like, okay, I like it when I go to these places. I like to see like the different towns and the surrounding areas, like what's going on in Fresno, what's going on in Stockton, places that I don't hear often or people don't talk much about. Like I want to see these other places. Like everybody goes to LA, not knocking it. It's just that I want to, see it as much as I can to get a full feel of culture out.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
So sorry, let me
go ahead, Mark.
I'll sneak in there.
And, and you gotta remember, like, so I've been doing this for 5 years. So like everyone that gets in my Uber car, like my Uber ride, they ask me the same questions. So I'm used to the questions, like you always talk the entire ride. So they ask me, so it's been awesome. It's been really awesome.
And you have a very respectable following on Instagram. I think it's like 16,000, something crazy like that. Like that's a lot of work and hustle put into that.
But and this is the interesting part. Well, it's like 19,000.
Oh shoot! I'm sorry, I undersold you.
Give him some credit.
I know.
Crazy because think about this. I didn't come up with the name because I was doing this 2 years prior to. There's some people that think I just started. Because my name I didn't come up with until 2020 during COVID. Because I was trying to figure out a name, and my roommate asked me, "Okay, if you had a TV show, what would you call it?" I was like, "Rideshare Foodie." I already had a name for the show, and I was like, "Okay, what the hell would my name be?" Like, what would they call me? I like my name, Kreskin,
Yeah.
but I was just like, I need a cool name, something that's, you knew on the spot, something that was, intriguing to people. So I was like, why not the Rideshare Foodie, And then I looked on, I was like, let me see if Google, somebody already has this, because that's just seem two on the nose. Like, somebody might already have that. It's perfect. Nobody had it. So that was the name. I was like, well, now I have my name, and then that's when I started getting like a lot more of like the media attention and everything, or like, interviews with reporters. Name is important in marketing, but
Yeah.
a brand name. And that's when I really started, because I think at the time I was maybe at 4,000, something like that on Instagram. And then after that, we joked up, so just wanted to create something where people can follow me, and at the same time they feel a part of the journey, like they see themselves in me, like this is a guy like me, or he's doing something I've always wanted to do. Now I get to follow somebody who's actually going after it, trying to achieve a dream. So I want people to feel like they can do these things, and not feel like that, you have to have some kind of celebrity status to do it. An average Joe or average Jane, and go after something different that you go after. Do something different than somebody else.
Right. That's one thing I like about your the way you deliver it too. It's like a lot of people get caught up in the high class food, like offerings out there.
Chef, or you got to be some chef on TV, or you got to be some professional.
Or you gotta have hella bank too. Like if you're gonna go to these like real expensive places, you're not gonna get like quality food that most people can identify with. You're gonna get quality food, but it's gonna be like somebody sitting here with tweezers and a fucking bouquet of flowers, like putting it on like a little piece of shrimp or something. But with you, like it's like a lot of I'd say it's like not like carnival food. Yeah, but it's like, yeah, exactly. Food trucks is a better way to put it.
Yeah, so
it's
I'm just you gotta remember, like, I like to people assume, I guess, because you get it's very interesting. A lot of what people get, or their ideas, from what they see on TV. That makes sense.
Right.
Like, of what, if you're doing something, even if somebody sees you on the news, like you could be on the news once, automatically you assume you're like, you're famous, like just because somebody's on you somewhere that the average person isn't, the average person is on TV, so it's just like a wow thing, I guess. But I just was just like, I want to go, like, I'm from Baltimore, so I'm just looking at like things that I was doing home. I'm just like, when I started doing Uber, I got to explore a lot more of my city. And I just got to the point where I was just like, why not take this show on the road and go to other cities and do the same thing I'm doing here? It just made it made sense to me. But like when I meet people, like especially like another rideshare driver, they'll be like, well, I never thought of that. I wouldn't. Or some people that might have thought of it, but you don't think somebody can actually do it. It's usually something somebody talks about. Like, what if somebody just took Uber and like you actually did it, like, and that's kind of the great thing about meeting so many people, because they get inspired to be like, man, like, you making me want to, it inspires people. So I'm just trying to do as much as I can, and, like, meet as many people as I can, especially because, I want to see what it's like in different parts of the country, and see what other people, I like seeing what other people go through, and
that's cool.
It's amazing. Think about this. It's amazing. Like, and I just found this information out, but to be like, elected or something, like to be the face of an entire country, there's no requirement that you had to experience the entire country.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? Like,
yeah,
that's
hella deep.
Yeah. Think about that. Like, like, so how can you expect someone to understand what, because it's depending on what region you're in, there's always something different going on, especially small towns.
People get trapped like in a bubble where they live. They don't realize it's a whole other world.
It's another, one of the most common things consistently for 5 years is I've never been outside. I've lived here my whole life. What is it like when outside of it? It's almost like another planet or something. This is something out like Galaxy, Galaxy Quest or something. I don't know, but like, what is it like out there? I've never been out.
So your game plan was to hit. Is it all 50 states or like the continental United States? And then it was going to be to sort of fund it. You'd still do your Uber thing while you're doing
Yeah.
it, right? So how does that break down? Like,
Um,
where did you get
oh,
started as well? I mean,
oh,
so
well, I started in Baltimore.
okay.
I started February the 2nd, 2018. I left Super Bowl Sunday. And
Oh,
then
wow.
the first trip was to, because I had never been to the West Coast. I was like, I'll take a trip to the West Coast. So I went Southwest, uh, Mississippi, Dallas, and all of that, El Paso, Arizona.
Yeah, I saw you had a lot of Texas posts. A lot
Yeah,
of good food out there.
yeah, it's a lot of good food. So I stayed
Yeah.
out there for like a year. That was my first trip. I came back, and then I was like, oh, that was nice. We dropped to the Midwest. To the Midwest. So, back to the West Coast. Yeah. And then after that, I was just like, oh, I think I took a trip. After that, I drove up to Michigan. And I was like, oh, let me drive up to Flint. And I want to get like, how about water like that. And stuff like that. So I went there. Yeah. So it's not like just to like, oh, like to write a check or something like that. Like, I want to actually drive through Flint, talk to some people, and, see what's, what's going on.
Well, the news that
And,
was going on at the time, right, with the water and all that.
yeah. So, so I went up there and did that. And then, Michigan. It's like, that. So usually, like, typically I would like pick a state and I would try to do like a week each major city. And, do as much as I can. And like now, this year, so I'm at 49 states. This year, my focus is small town. It's, like small town. And then like meet with like my next trip is actually April the 6th. I'm going to Rockland, New Mexico, and so I'm gonna meet with like police officers for lunch, meet the mayor. It's actually meeting people.
Wow.
And you see what I'm saying, like to actually find about their families, about the state.
When you're traveling real quick, where do you stay though? Like, where's your lodging?
Oh, my car.
Dang, that's
yeah.
a hustle. That's a hustle right there, man.
Well, I mean, it's a little different now because I've met so many people now, like here and there, like I know people in different places, so sometimes it's like, yeah, you want to just prep? That's another thing. It's still the same America. Like you'll go places and then people just offer you a place to stay. Hey, you can stay here, and because now I do a lot more. Like I'll look up if they see if they have like a community group on Facebook, like a local group. I'm just like, hey, like Wichita, this is my first time coming to Wichita. What should I look for? What do you know for? And they're like, oh man, this is your first time. Welcome to Wichita, and so welcome. It was like, man, let me know. I got a place you can stay. And somebody else will be like, hey man, let's meet up and grab a beer, man. I would love to know where you're from and see what you're all about.
Dang,
And
that's cool.
Yeah.
So, like I wish that was you don't hear that a lot more. I think if people heard a lot more of that, it would be more of a balance of, now it's like the country is frightened. Like I'm not nowhere. That's where, like I'm not going, I'm staying, and I think if that was shown a lot more, people had that more in their like psyche, like, man, it's really not, like that bad,
Yeah.
I didn't know, I get a lot of, I didn't know that, or wow, that really happened. So it's interesting. Like I get so many questions, but like one of the main questions I get is, did you experience any racism? That's usually a big question.
That's a good question though. Yeah.
Yeah. But like it's a question that, like, so you have so many different people that ask you so many different questions. Like you were asked, how did you fund it? Where did you stay? And, you probably didn't even have that question on written down as one of your questions on your list.
Yeah.
But, like if like family, friends, Black people, that's the only question I get asked. That's the only
really?
question.
Wow.
Yes. And everybody, Native American, Asian, it's very interesting. It's like, why was, because usually the question is why somebody hasn't done something.
Yeah.
Or like their fear of this.
Mm-hmm.
And usually those are the questions like I had a waitress that asked me about, she was talking about with R&B. She's like, I thought about doing that, but like I'm a woman and, so I thought about like a certain neighborhood, you don't get scared or you don't get lonely. I thought about, like it's these other questions. The only question
Safety.
yeah, safety and stuff,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
these other questions. But there's never a thought of like, oh, did you experience this or whatever? The only question I get, like, with prejudice in Idaho, I heard it was prejudice. I thought, you know, the entire state. That's the
Oh,
only
jeez.
question. So it's
Yeah.
just like it's really interesting. Like it's like wow, like you know, but this will keep people from not leaving, you know, or be if I
Yeah.
said yes, let's say if I said yes, he's like, oh, yep, I knew it. I'm not never going. That would be, you know, that would be the
Yeah.
excuse. Yeah,
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we look at the country through the because we have a lot of people have like a narrow mindedness. And this is a lot of things, but what the country is like and what it looks like. So if somebody's, and I understand, it's like, what is this great country or this, you know, beautiful country that people keep talking about? But if you live like, let's say if you live in a hood, you're not looking at, you know, you're looking at it through the lens of where you live or what you see every day. So it's like, why would I leave? I don't, you know, I'm pretty much going to do the same thing as I do here. Like, what is this country they're talking about? I don't see it. Isn't that interesting? You look at it
Yeah.
through the lens of where you live.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like you said, it takes it takes that experience on a massive level, like not just like a couple times, but like time and time again. Like we've traveled to Mexico. Like I'm from the Bay Area, and then we moved up to the Seattle area. And it's still a lot of Asian, but it's a lot of white folks.
Yeah.
But like then on the reverse of that is like going to Mexico. And of course you like a lot of times if you go, you're going to go to like a resort place, but you know, you're obviously part of the few, and they're very welcoming and good, but it's just like at the same time you kind of like, for me the fear is like if I would ask myself a question each and every time, it's like, are we going to be safe? Is there going to be cartels? Am I going to get like in a drug shootout? Am I going to get my head decapitated or something? So it's like you said, like there's a narrative in everybody, and for good reason, right? For a lot of folks, I would probably have to deal with a lot of bullshit. So the idea of going somewhere, like I would hear that from friends, like you can't like move somewhere. You could move somewhere if you're willing to go through whatever's necessary to move. But if you're going to go somewhere and there's no other community, like one of our guests was Chukanese, right? From Micronesia. And so like he was saying there's not a lot of Micronesian communities around. So when you go places, like he ended up being in Florida and was raised by like good family members with Haitian folks. So you kind of start to jump outside those ethnic boundaries that we all kind of maybe start with, if that's what's going to happen and you're going to live somewhere else. So to your point though, it's like you really have to be open-minded and get over those fears. Otherwise, yeah, you're never going to get out and experience anything.
People just want to stay comfortable. Like that's what I hear a lot as well. Like I would hear that often. Like, you know, like I had this in my car that told me, she was laughing because I was just like, I told her that I was in Lincoln, Nebraska, this bar one time, and I didn't notice I was the only brother there. And until like I was just talking to people, and it was just like, I thought you were with the group the way you were just talking to, you know, you was just talking to people.
Yeah.
And she started laughing. She was like, oh man, that's hilarious. She's like, because my husband is like one of those people that like, if there's nobody black there, he doesn't go or he doesn't stay there. I'm just like, I was like, well, why is that? Have you asked him why? Like, you know, like, does he, you know, like just because nobody's there? Like, she's like, nah, I never asked him. Even like when somebody has like, they tell you like, you better be careful because of this. Like my mom, she didn't want me to go to California. I remember it was my first trip. He's like, I don't know if I want you to go to California. I was like, why? She's like, I saw Boys in the Hood, and I'm like, what year did that come out? And I'm like, because Ricky got shot, I can't go. The entire state I'm off limits to because Ricky got shot.
It was that damn. Like, you know, he had to take a piss.
Most of the time, people have never been to these places. They don't know, or they go for what somebody tells them. And you know, unfortunately, like it's a lot of what we get is from media or what we see on TV. You know, because if you didn't have somebody tell you, I guarantee you, you ask if somebody came up with something like really terrifying or something, they're gonna tell you like, "Well, I heard this," or "I heard, you know, I saw this," and they were like, "Well, you're not gonna kidnap me." You know, I heard this Uber driver. I'm like, where are you getting this stuff? Like, you know, be like one incident. You know, it was one incident, but the way they're talking about it is like it's like. You know, like you have a 98% chance of you getting kidnapped in an Uber driver's car. You know, like it's like very high. You know, like I'm like, what is this Grand Theft Auto? But you know, like that's the that's the reality. It's just like a lot of what we get. Like if you ask me, it's like, well, where did you get that from? And that's what I've gotten from. It's just I ask a lot of questions. And especially when somebody makes sense, like, where did you get that from? Or who told you that? And then a lot of times it's like I had this guy, he told me this is something very simple. In Austin, he was just like one of this barbecue place, and it's ranked the top 10 or something. I was like, where did you get that from? Who said that? And he's like the internet.
Yeah.
Like, like who was that person? Who was the person that said, specifically who said this off the top? So I asked a lot of questions. Like, where did you get that from? Like, you can't just throw out something and like somebody that's credible.
Right. Like, and there's so much so many blogs and false information out there. Like, you don't know who to trust, and I don't know. You gotta definitely get out. You gotta get out there and try it for yourself and have your decision on it. Like, that's the
research or look and I know people busy or they're like, I don't like time for that. But I'm like, you can't be talking about you want to do something. There's so many people I've met that I want to do this, so I want to get out. Okay, if you really want to do it, make it happen. Like,
Yeah, we're in the age of empowerment. Like, my wife works with a lot of ladies that they're all about that, like, get your business going, blah, 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 blah. But then it's like, it all becomes like very much the same tone. Right. So I'm not trying to shit on them, but it's just like, sometimes you need that, you need somebody that's outside the circle of that. And that's kind of like, oh, this one's so different because
somebody that's doing it. You need somebody that's actually doing it. And that's what I want. I'm like, I got tired of because that's just how I grew up. Like you do it. You don't be just talking about it. Like, that's why some people is like, man, dude, like you actually, I see you going and like, I don't know where you're going to be next, but you're not talking about it and telling people like you actually out there. Like somebody, I was in Oakland, somebody broke into my car. I saw you in Oakland, somebody broke into your window. Damn. Like, I'm out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not all. It's another beautiful day. The Food Networking. No, it's real. I'm as good as people. I'm out here.
Now you gotta go buy a window.
Yeah. And look, I was inside the window shop, the glass shop, and I was sitting here because I had just got barbecue. I'm like, man, this is man. So I just did the reaction video where I was sitting in my window eating the barbecue on camera.
Man, right now I'm sitting here. Some of y'all know this. Went to go to this barbecue spot here in Oakland, man. Somebody broke into my car. Sitting here get my car redid with new glass and everything on my driver's side door. But y'all already know how I do the Rideshare Foodie, man. We're gonna still check this barbecue out. I don't care where I'm at. We still gonna check this barbecue out. We're gonna see if it's this good. If it's good enough to get your car jacked, broken all into it, everything like that. If it's that good to go check out. So this is from Everett and Jones. We got the barbecue over here, and I'm gonna do a reaction right here, live, and let y'all know what I think. So, got the joint right here, nice smoky, falling off the bone. This is real good. Got a little sauce with it. Okay. These are some amazing ribs, man. Everett and Jones in Oakland, man. These are some amazing ribs. Damn, these are real bad.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good way. That's a good way to spin it.
So I was just like, I just want to give people a sense of reality. Like especially when you see these shows and stuff, I'm like, it's not always a beautiful day. And I'm gonna give you the real. And I'll be South Side Chicago, 1 a.m. in the morning, and out there. So it is what it is where people see it. It's not like when you just tell like I actually see you out there, man. I was Chicago, like you wasn't scared of it, but it gets people inspired. It gets people inspired.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Let's talk about the Uber part of it. So when you're there, and like, let's say you're in the south side of Chicago, are you also picking up fares as you're like in between like the spots you identify? So you're kind of like mixing both those worlds together. You're not just like identifying like this place has the best whatever in this area, so let me go head over there.
So what I do is I usually get and I've got so many recommendations now, but usually what I do is that's still kind of good, but I would ask the passengers, like I'm in Chicago and I pick somebody up. I'm like, yo, we all go out here to eat. He's like, what you ain't from here? I'm like, nah, I'm from Baltimore, man. I just like, you drove all the way out here in Chicago, and I ain't never met nobody. You know, like I've never met nobody from Baltimore. Like, what's I like, we all go. What's the what's the problem? And I don't like to just do like, because that's actually what I'm looking for. I'm like, I don't want just like dishes or like place to go, but I also want to know like, what did y'all grow up on? What kind of like, if I go to this corner store, what kind of snacks, chips, because they're gonna have their own brand. So I'm doing snacks, juices. Oh, well, you gotta get, and they get excited because they're like, oh, well, if you're looking for that, you gotta go to this corner store called the Hattie Shack. And you gotta ask for, all that. And so I'm just chopping it up with them. And then I drop them off, and they do their thing or whatever. But they give me, all right, this is the, and it's credible because I'm actually going to these hot spots where people actually live. I get to go to every neighborhood. So you want on the west side, you want on the east side, so I'm getting all of this information. So
damn, that's like
what I want to do. The same thing I was doing in Baltimore. I mean, it's the same thing in Baltimore. I'm like just going in a different city.
Dude, you should turn this into like a book or something too, because
it's gonna be an app.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm coming out with a mobile app next
That's genius.
That's smart.
Bro.
Yeah,
that's smart. Yeah, that's like one thing. Like I think Rob and I have in common is like we both like those kind of spots too. Like remember that one place by my brother's house? It was like that taco / liquor store.
Yeah.
And you can
El
get
Burro.
like, yeah, it was something I saw. It was on a post.
El Rancho.
El Rancho.
El Rancho. Yeah,
and that place was legit. And then in San Francisco,
it's still there.
There's another place called Famous Roxy Sandwiches, and it was like you get these big ass sandwiches, and then they also had like a liquor store thing. So you can find some of the best spots.
So many places. And that's what people want. So like when I started going Uber, and I kept I would pick people up from the airport, and everybody would ask me, "Where do the locals go? We want the mom and pop shop. What do you do in Baltimore? And I'm gonna send you to some spots that they ain't gonna tell you, you ain't gonna know about." Right. And I was just like, why is this should be like an app. Why is this not like an app for local recommendations? You can get on the app and ask somebody, where should I go, whatever, who's the best bartender, who's the top DJ in the city, whatever. Why is that not an app?
Right.
And so while I was traveling and stuff like that, I was like, at the same time, I'll be able to gather the information, do my own kind of recon.
Yeah, exactly.
Gather information, especially because depending on where you are, people call stuff something different. Like when you go to Portland, they don't call them food trucks, food carts. I did not know this. Farmers markets, I did not know, because even on the East Coast, it's flea markets. That's the problem.
Right.
I know farmers markets was a big thing until I stepped out Midwest, West Coast, and stuff like that. Did not know this information. So let me jot this down. So just jotting all that information. Then you go to like the Reds, and I didn't even know it was called there. I thought it was just the reservations. Like, no, we call it the Reds. You go to the Native Americans, you learn about the different tribes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to know what the hell I'm talking about, and whatever I'm putting together, I want people to actually have that information, especially people that are using it. They know this stuff. Okay, this is what I look for. He got this on here. He knows about this. So, doing Uber, I'm able to get all of that.
Yeah, the locals are going to be real honest with you as you pick them up.
Later, getting off at work, ain't just like, there's people tired as hell getting off from Walmart. Getting off from work at FedEx. It's like, man, I was carrying them damn boxes. But they were like, so you in Nashville? You got to go to this spot. You got to go to this spot. So, so going all the places, and then adding in and factoring in like small towns where they had those places that's in the middle of nowhere. You can find those places like you drive. If I was flying, I wouldn't know about those places.
Yeah, I saw that on one of your posts. I think it was Texas. You found like 99-cent margaritas or something.
Yeah, it's this place in Wichita called Spangler where you get like.
Oh, okay. I couldn't believe it. 99 cents.
And 99-cent shots through the drive-through.
Oh my God.
Tequila shots and stuff like that through the drive-through. So when people,
that's awesome.
So if I mention that to people, it's like, man, like the average person, what am I going to Wichita for? It's nothing there. That's usually what you hear. It's nothing there. like, you might not think they got 99-cent shots through the drive-thru, and I know somebody. You know, like that's the pregame.
Yeah.
I got that's the
man.
pregame spot.
So $1 million question: when you're doing all this, how do you deal with the bathroom situation?
Yeah, that's a good
So
question.
Uber and everything.
Yeah, well, just eating all these delicious food and then having to like figure it out.
Like if I was eating tacos, but I got hit the toilet. No, actually I don't. And then when I do, like to help with digestion and everything, I drink what is it? It's a salt and vinegar. Apple cider vinegar and water. I drink
does that help?
Heartburn and like digestion and everything like that.
Yeah.
So and then I don't like it's like, especially sweet, because I don't do a lot of sweets.
Okay.
I don't eat the whole thing.
Right. That'd be difficult.
Like, a little bit of stuff like that, and that's why like a lot of times I like to bring people with me because it'd be so much.
Yeah.
You gotta share it.
I don't have to really. Yeah, and if I do have to use the bathroom, I just go to the bathroom, or like I'll stop somewhere or something. I don't know. Planet Fitness maybe. If that was, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I take a shower there too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's the thing about like crashing my car like at a Walmart or whatever, somewhere 24 hours, and I had my membership, so that's I can use the Planet Fitness I've actually used it nationwide.
Yeah,
that is genius right there.
I've actually used it nationwide, and then you go in, you work out or whatever, you take a shower and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you do it for the day. Which is interesting because like I was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Each gym is a little different when you go someplace. So they have an actual barbershop inside the Planet Fitness.
No way.
It comes with a membership. I was like, so how much does the barbershop cost? She's like, it comes with the membership. I'm like, really? So you can get a fade, you can get on it. You can get a fade, hop on it.
You get ripped.
And then you go over to like Oakland, they got a security guard standing at the front door there when you walk in, and they pat you down. I'm like, what? Oh, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
I've never seen a security guard inside of a Planet Fitness until I got to Oakland. So, it's interesting to see how like different things are when you go to different places. I just had somebody yesterday was talking about, because I compared, I said, and it was like a positive post. I was like, man, Southwest is like a Walmart airline. Meaning they always have great deals, and even when you're not looking for deals, you buy something, and like usually like there's some cities where most of the doors or most of the gates are Southwest, so everybody lines up to go. And somebody took it as like, what? It was a bad thing because she was saying, she's like, man, Walmart is ghetto. I'm like, where? I was like, like every Walmart is probably where she lives or where she shot. That's usually. I'm like, Walmart is not like that. Most of the Walmarts you go to is nice as hell. Like some of them got like sports bars and stuff like that. I've been someplace like small towns. They got sports bars in there. I went to one that had a sushi restaurant.
Wow.
But yeah, the sports bar was like you could go in there, she could go shopping, your wife or your girlfriend could go shopping, you could go to the sports bar, watch the game, you have a little drink, like, look, I'll meet you in hour 15 after I'm finished.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how like things are different in different places. So so I'm really excited about that. And then I want to do tailgates is next.
That's a good idea.
Sick. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's when I'll get like small team or whatever and get like a cameraman or something like that. I think that would be really awesome.
Oh, just the noise and the people. I mean, my God, this is so
much
content.
You know?
Yeah, the content right there is off the hook.
Exactly.
So before we get out of here, I want to ask about now. We've got to get into the do you have any funny stories from like Uber itself? Because I'm sure you probably got so many stories just about like,
funny stories from Uber. I never have any. I'm about to take you because my battery is dying. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, it sounds great. It sounds great.
I want to make sure I wanted to cut off from you. Interesting story. So, I mean, I had like something. I mean, it hasn't been anything crazy. I had this one guy. I remember I was in Louisville. He got in. He had like the Lords of Dogtown thing going on with the long hair skateboard and everything. He gets in Walmart and he's like, said, hey man, how's it going and everything? I was like, man, I'm cool and everything. How's everything with you? He said, oh man, I'm going home to make dinner and everything. I was like, oh, what you making to eat? He's like, I'm making some American style tacos. I was like, what the hell is American style tacos? And he's like, is when you take tacos and you melt Velveeta cheese and you pour it over the tacos. I'm like, yeah, that is American tacos. You know,
Lazy man tacos.
Yeah, I had this girl. I remember I picked this girl from the what was it called? It was called the Ritz Cabernet. It was a gentleman's club.
Oh,
And
nice.
this guy that walks down, he looks like Bill Nye the Science Guy. And like, I had my window like halfway up. It was like 3 a.m. He sticks his whole arm in my window to give me a handshake. He's like, hey, how's it going, man? I'm like, what the hell? He's like, hey, man, I got one of my new girls with me. I'm like, what are you, a pimp? One of my new girls, and I just want to make sure she get home safely. You're not like a serial killer or a stalker, are you? I'm like, no. But then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what if I say, yeah? Would you,
Yeah.
You think I'm joking or I don't? What else? Not that. So she walks in and she actually gets up front, which I was like, oh, that's interesting. I thought she would feel comfortable, being up. See, we drive. It's like a 35-minute drive or something, and she's just telling me, yeah, I got a DUI and everything, can't drive and everything, and I'm actually in school. I'm I think she said she was a real estate agent and she was in school for like because I think I was talking about the app or something, but she was like, yeah, I actually do app design and wireframes. I'm like, really? So she was talking about all this other stuff, yeah. And so we getting closer to the house, and I'm like, why did your guy come out here and was asking about the whole kidnapping and all the serial killer thing? She was like, yeah, because he was telling me before I left that this girl had got kidnapped or something. And I'm like, well, why would he tell you that before you get in the car?
Right.
I knew that. I would just make sure you got this, got in the car and got home safely. And then I would have told you afterwards, like, yeah, this is the reason I was out there and I was asking this question because I heard about this. I'm like, I wouldn't tell you before you get in there because I would think that you would, you would, in your mind, you would think about that the whole ride, paranoid, like, oh, maybe he's going to do this. So she's like, yeah, he told me. So we get there. And I go out and I open the door for her and everything. And she said, oh, thank you so much. She's like, wait a minute. I want to give you a tip. Guess where she got the tip from? So she opens up her bra.
Oh,
crumpled up ones that people have been throwing on the stage.
Oh my God.
And she started folding them out, taking out the ones and unwrapping them and trying to fold them down and everything because they all like crispy and crumpled up. She's like, thank you so much for the ride. Have a good night. Here's $8, man. Thank you so much. Here's your tip. And then she walks off. So it'd be like interesting stuff like that. I had this guy in Cleveland. I picked up from two friends. They throw him in a car from this gay bar. And it was like a 7-minute trip, but it felt like 30 minutes the entire time. Like, dude, you're so hot. I would love to give you a blowjob.
Oh,
my God.
It was like the longest 7 minutes of my life. And I was like, man, it's still. And then I'm looking at the Google. I'm looking at the maps. It's went from 7 to now it says 5 minutes. I'm like 5 minutes, but it felt like I was dropping 25. I'm like, what?
Gonna get there quick enough.
Yeah, he's like laying back, and so we get to this stuff. He's like, man, you want to come in? You want to come up? Oh man, I'll give you my number. Come on, you're so hot. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. So stuff like that. But it's
that's a TV show right there.
I'm just saying. I'm saying stuff because they don't show that on no like real Uber commercial. Things that really happen. They make it seem like it's all perfect rides, and I'm like, no, something that really happened. Like when I remember it was like a fight or something in Phoenix, Arizona, and somebody called me, and they was like out of breath when they got to my car. He was like, I'm like, what the hell? Somebody was saying?
He's like,
a getaway driver.
Yeah. He's got me with a wrestling match or something. Like, it was a fight around the corner, and they blocked off the street, and they was telling me about all this stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness. So you're in the middle of everything. Then I remember I picked up this college kid. He was in Phoenix somewhere, just like mansion or something, and he walked all the way down some other street. And he's like, yeah, man, I had to get out of here. He's like, man, there's a lot of people. I was like, what they was doing? He's like, I don't party that hard. I like to party, but they was out there doing the coke and everything like that.
Oh, snap.
Huge party and everything, man. They was shooting up and everything. They had his separate rooms, and I'm like,
damn.
oh. So yeah, it was. Yeah, so you
going to these places, you just like people would tell you there would be interesting people, but at the same time you'll get people that was going to tell you, they're going to tell you everything that happened, especially if you ask, so what happened? Oh man, let me tell you. Man, I just got up, man. So let me ask you this question. If you had a girl, right? And she did, I'm
you're like
man,
you're like a therapist there.
Yeah, man. I was trying to talk to my girl and we was cuddled up on the couch and the dog kept barking and and then I said something and then she kicked me out because I said something about the dog and we couldn't even finish what we was doing. I'm like, man, that's
that's real problems right there.
First world problems, right? Most of the time they'll just tell me their story, or like if I pick them up and I'm like, I'm like, I'll usually ask people where they're from, especially like now. Like, yeah, where you from? Whatever. It's like, oh, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And another thing I noticed is a lot of people that they'll assume that you don't know if they're from a small town or somewhere. They'll assume that you don't know, so they'll tell you like the closest major city. So like, I'm from Indianapolis, and then when I tell them where I've been and what I do, oh well, actually, I'm from Kokomo, Indiana. It's like 2 hours, I think, south or something like Indianapolis. I'm actually from this small town, and sometimes I was like, yeah, I actually been there before. Social Circle, Georgia. How you know about that place? Nobody know. It's a way for me to connect with different people.
Yeah.
Like, man, so you know what it's like there? I'm like, yeah, I know what it's like out there. I'm like, I know what it's like. So, and that's one of the biggest things I want is like to actually get to talk to people while I'm driving Uber and everything, but at the same time, get to experience what their life is like or what they grew up around,
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's awesome.
Because I kept talking, like I said, like I kept talking about it. I'm like, it's funny, like, that's not a requirement. You had to experience all 50 states and all that. Somebody was like, well, you did it. Shit, you like, I was like, yeah, I keep talking, I keep talking about it. Like, I've actually, I wanted to take the time to actually see what it's like, somewhere else, and, it's been really awesome, man. It's been, especially the people like, they're very welcoming and, like, especially like the holidays and stuff like that, when you get invited to people's homes and it's like, yeah, come over Thanksgiving, man, you're part of the family and, don't know me.
Right.
It's crazy, but it's just like, hey, and that's where I feel, that's how I feel like, I feel like that message should be a lot more, put out a lot more as far as America and, when they have these press conferences and stuff, you don't hear anything about like positive things,
No.
Yeah.
That doesn't sell. You got to make
exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't sell. There you go. But it's like that's the reality, and people aren't getting those of what's really going on. Well, what's going on, but at the same time, like how people really are, because people assume that you're not wanted, or like if I go somewhere, people won't accept me, or I won't be welcome. And it's the complete opposite. People want to meet other people. Like I went to Montana, I was in Missoula, and it's like nobody comes out here from Baltimore, like. So like, what is it like out there? Like, they want to know what it's like else, and then you get to ask them questions like, "Oh, well, welcome to Montana, Big Sky." I'm like, "Why do you call it Big Sky?" Big Sky, Montana. Okay, like this is Montana. Yeah,
that's where my wife was born, is Missoula, Montana.
Yeah,
I
was out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I hope. I mean, I'm sure Rob feels the same way. Like, I hope to travel the country more, see more things. I've been to a few states. I haven't been down to like the southeast yet, like not Florida. So that's got to be on the like Georgia. So that's my area still, and haven't been out to Hawaii or things like that. But yeah, we definitely got to get that in while we still can, especially
like Alaska.
That's another one.
Wow, yeah.
Last frontier, yeah. It's a big thing up there. Is I know specifically in Anchorage. Drag shows.
Drag shows
are big.
Drag shows.
Are a big thing up there.
Wow.
One local, she was talking to me about. She was like, "Yeah, this was like this. She was like, yeah, it's this gay bar. They have a new menu. There's a brunch menu and everything." And she's like, "You should check it out." And she's like, "I go all the time. They had these awesome drag shows." And I was just like, "Okay, like, yeah. So what did they do at the drag show?" I just asked the question, and she's like, "What?" She's like, "So you've never been to a drag show?" I'm like, "No, I've never been sitting in my car like, tonight is the night." I go by myself, And then to me, it's something like that seems like more of a social thing, like if it was like a bunch of girls and they're like, "Yeah, we going in," they drag you to a peer pressure.
Right. That's cool.
Like the same thing if like karaoke. I haven't done karaoke and I wouldn't do it by myself. There's a group and they're like, "Yeah, meet up with us." I wouldn't do it by myself. But she's like, "What? She's like, oh, she's like, we going tonight. I'm calling all my friends. It became a major event. And she's like, well, she was like, you coming? I was like, well, do I gotta drive? She's like, nah, I think okay, cool. I was like, I'll give you some gas money. So she's like, yeah, we going and everything. So she picked me up and everything, and all her friends meet her there and everything. She's like, yeah, so this is the church. So I'm going. I'm like, oh, this is nice. This is nice little. The drinks were cheap as hell. So yes, I'm like, the bottles were like $15 for a whole bottle of wine. I'm like, oh, this is where I'm at.
That is cheap, yeah.
Yeah, it's cheap. And then so the show started and everything. And she actually was friends with some of the people there, and even like the MC and everything. And she was like, "Yeah, he's a math teacher by day, and him and his girlfriend work here at night or whatever. He dresses up and everything." And she's the honeypot. I'm like, "What the hell's a honeypot?" She goes around and has her bosoms out, she collects the tips and everything. I was like, "Oh, that's a honeypot. I didn't know that was a thing." So. Yeah. So, he announces everything and everybody comes on. They had a music, the choreography. It was like an MTV Music Awards or something. I was like, wow, but it's like you sit back. It was just standing. My only thought was like, so this is Alaska. It's like, well, you say you want to experience America. I'm like, yeah, I said that. You're going to use my words against me. So, somebody like, so this is, everybody's having fun. And I'm like, man, so this is what they do, like a big thing they do in Alaska. Like, okay, so this is part of Alaska. Okay. Didn't know this. So, so it's an interesting experience. It's like, wow. But it was different because like there, they have like the daylight thing through the summer and then the night during the fall and or winter. So you walk in, it looks the same way as when you walk out. Like, man, is it? Did it? Like the same way. So no wonder I was like, no wonder they got brunch here. So you go in at night and come back, and it's still, I was just like, wow.
Right. So did you?
Walk in bright and come out, it's still bright. But yeah.
So were you doing the Uber thing up there too when you went up there?
Oh. So I had everything set up to do it, and it was very easy, but they had no rental cars.
Oh, okay.
So my plan was to drive. My plan was to drive up there. It's still on my list to drive to Alaska, but because of COVID, the border, the Canadian border was closed.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
And I was like, okay, I'll just rent a car. So I had Uber, and everything was easy because a lot of states are just minimum document, and you can have out of state license stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I can just work up Alaska. So I get there and no cars. So I had to rent a U-Haul truck. I had to get a box truck. And so somebody asked me, like, yeah, so you gonna do Uber in a box truck? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do. No. I was like, what I look like? Driving, picking somebody up, especially a female. Like, it's like, so how do we get in, sir? You get in, you open the latch, and you get in.
Put the ramp down.
I'll knock two times when we're here.
Knock 2 times. It'll be the last Uber. It'll be the last Uber you ever take in your life. It was awesome. But yeah, I was like, so that's when I'm going back. But the cool thing was I had it was a reporter that met me, and she was just like, she was writing down my story and everything, and she was just asking me questions, and she was like, wow, she's like, you're like super outgoing. She was like, I'm gonna call my fiance and tell him that I want to have you over for dinner. So if her fiance invited me over for dinner, and he had made like authentic salmon and all Alaskan meal, and had me over and everything. It's like, man, we having conversations, drinking wine and everything. It's like, man, so it's like, dude, whenever you come back, he was like, look, we got an extra bedroom. You can just stay here. So,
wow, damn, that's cool, right
awesome.
there. Get them up,
yeah. So it's just awesome, like just being able to connect with so many different people and build, so many relationships.
That's a testament. That's a testament to you, man. I mean, it just seems like even again with your Instagram, you're always talking to the owners and the proprietors of those businesses, and like all these stories you're sharing. Like, you're not a person like, again, like you're not going to jump in a car with you and worry about anything. It's more like, oh shit, he wants to know about me, so let's hook him up on the info. So that's super dope. Used to
that, and I know that because that's how I've always been like that, but people aren't used to like, oh, you want to know about me. Or like if somebody asks me because they might do something like I do, or they might be thinking about, it's like, man, I thought about doing a food thing or whatever. So like, what are some tips you can give me? And I'm like, ask for the owners and tell them that you want to meet the owner and everything. Talk to them, build some kind of relationship. They're like, you go in there, you ask for the owner. Like, how do you do that? It's not like it's, it's really difficult. I'm like, no, you just go in there and you just, ask for them. It's kind of
Yeah.
like when, like somebody brings you the wrong order or brings you something you didn't ask for. And I don't know if you have anybody that's like that, but they won't say anything. They'll just accept the order. They won't say anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you need, you just gotta say something. I don't know, just go talk to people. Like, it's like, especially now, it's a hard concept for people, like, because you have that people are socially awkward to, actually talk when you actually, ask them a question. So to go walk up to somebody and just like, hey, just say, hey, hello, how are you? Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Again, this is stuff I was.
People don't do that enough now.
Yeah,
They
just
don't.
back in my day, you just said, maybe it's where I'm from, but you just speak to people, and it's especially different here because I'm in Texas now. Like, let's say if I go to Walmart and people have their name tag, I'm like, hey, what's going on, Maria? How you doing tonight? And she's like, how you? First she's like, how you doing?
Yeah, you forget it's part of the uniform.
Yeah. Like, or be like, how it's like, kind of like a look of like, why you got so much energy, or why,
Yeah.
And that's where I realized, like, everybody, everybody's different and everybody's good at something, so just trying to use what I'm good at and, use that to my advantage or something.
Yeah.
And get the most out of whatever I can get out of and try to use that to help other people. It was funny because I remember I was watching the episode of what was it, Triple D, Diner Drive-Ins and Dives.
Oh yeah.
It's like right before
Guy
I left. I was watching with a friend of mine, and I was just like, man, I would love to have that kind of like platform, or that influence, like, show other people stuff. But I was like, I would take, where I would take people, like these other things that they wouldn't know about. And it's interesting that, like, before I left and then fast forward, I was telling somebody about that story, and it was like, well, you kind of do that right now, don't you? I'm like, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, yeah, kind of. And I just want to. My thing is to just try to build something that helps everybody else out. It's too much. It's kind of like having a whole slice of pie. It's too much for me. I want everybody else to enjoy. I just want to see everybody be happy, and go after their dreams and see them come true. Especially people that I know now that started in parking lots, and we follow each other on Facebook and stuff like that. So I'm able to see, like, now it's like, man, you got to come back. I got a brick and mortar now. To see them grow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
after, like,
a follow up on it. Yeah.
People that I've met years ago when I started, or like some places that like I haven't been yet, but I know people we're gonna connect. And like I'll show up. Like, it was one guy, I think I was in Sacramento. We were talking for like a year. I want to say almost like a year or something like that before I even got up there. And then when I got up there, like, it was I had a reporter that reached out to me in Sacramento. She was like, yeah, you know what business you want to be in? And I already knew I was going. I'm like, yep, I'm gonna put you on. You see what I'm saying? Able to use my platform to help somebody else. And it was crazy.
Promote.
Yeah, and he was like, that week, he was like, man, thank you so much. Because he was like, to be honest, that weekend, he's like, I was actually thinking about, like, like giving up doing the food thing because it was so much work. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then when you called me to tell me about that, he was like, it put everything in perspective and got me to, I didn't know this. I was just like, look, I want to, do whatever I got to help you out,
Right, exactly.
So that's why I was saying, like, when I thought about what I wanted to do as far as moving forward or whatever event, I was like, yo, to do like a whole like national food truck tour, because that, like, to bring the media and everybody gets publicity. It's something where everybody wins.
Cross promotion. Yeah.
Yes. Whew.
Yeah,
for almost every state.
Yeah, and in food, and like you said just now, food people in the food industry are one of the hardest workers. I mean, obviously there's people that are in construction and stuff like that, but just the hours and the prep time and all that, people they got to deal with, and like you said about like customers and just the way that people just have the weirdest reactions and stuff. But I give it up. It's a dedication for that passion if people are into that. So that's cool that you put that positive light on it,
Yeah, it's just been, I just wanted to see it everywhere. Like, I wanted to see, like, if I go to West Virginia, like, what is it like? I remember I was in Hurricane, and it was this barbecue spot. It's not that COVID, it's not there anymore.
Oh
but
yeah, but the
I was
number, huh?
Yeah, he was like, it was this place called Mountain Q. It was so good, but he was just like, he's like, yeah, I want you to invite you in and everything, sit down, my wife and everything want to sit down with you. So I come in and him and his wife sits down with me, we're having a conversation. He's like, so West Virginia, what the hell are you doing out here?
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing? Nobody comes to it. That's what I'm saying, like doing something that the average person wouldn't do, or that where the average go. And other people are not thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna go drive out here to West Virginia from Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I tell them, I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And but it's interesting like to actually listen to what they go through, especially like when they tell you the process and like they tell you their dreams or where they started and what they wanted to do. And later on, to hear that from like the entire nation is just awesome. It's something that was like a big goal of mine, is like to do it everywhere, and you hear everybody's story and, they tell you about, their family and their father or their mother and what they want, it's just been really awesome, especially during COVID, to see how it affected businesses everywhere, Now I will say, one of the perks was when, like let's say I'm somewhere and they have like a curfew 11 o'clock. It's like, yeah, because of COVID or whatever. And then like the next day I'm driving up to, where was I? Des Moines, Iowa. They like, man, you just got here in time. They just had an announcement or a press conference. They opened everything back up to 2 a.m. I'm like, where?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm there. I'm there. Yeah.
I'm there. Okay. More Uber for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, that's just it too, right? If there's a world event or a big thing going on and you come through town, like you said, like the Super Bowl is when you left. If you're in town for like some award show, you just happen to time it right. I mean, shit, you probably get a lot more like opportunities to see stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning to do. Like, so I'm gonna start doing this summer because I want to start doing like county fairs or different people tell me. Like,
yeah.
Like they have different events in different towns. So like August they have Kool-Aid Festival.
Oh, wow.
That's where Kool-Aid was invented in Nebraska. Did not know this.
Right.
Kool-Aid parade, and they have a shop that does Kool-Aid cookies, and they got a Kool-Aid drinking contest. Kool-Aid everything.
Kool-Aid. Somebody's gonna get diabetes on this thing.
It's a funny thing. They make you sign a waiver.
Oh, really?
I found that waiver. Yeah, sign that waiver drinking all that Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
These kinds of things exist in like different towns and so I'm just like, those are some of the things I can focus on now, like that. Is a guy that was in somewhere, in Wichita. It was like a guy that invited me to come to like a senior living. I was talking about Jello cake or something. Somebody was saying like, yeah, I got a Jello cake. I was like, what the hell is Jello cake? I never heard of it. So I look it up. And then I posted on my Facebook, and the guy was like, yeah, we make it all the time here. He's like the director at a senior living home. I was like, okay. He's like, man, if you want to come here, look, you can sit down with some of the seniors and have lunch and, talk, stuff like that.
That's probably a great thing for them, just to have a young person come in and just chop it up with everybody.
Exactly. And have some Jello cake.
The world famous Jello cake.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of stuff. And then there's this lady that works at a juvenile detention center. She invited me during COVID, and they stopped because of COVID or whatever. But she's like, you can come in and I can get the boys to like cook and everything, cook something, and you can tell them about what you've been doing and stuff like that. And maybe that'll help them out, stuff like that.
That's cool.
And then Holmes County, Ohio, I got invited to. You won't laugh. But I was just like, one of the things on my list has been to go experience Amish country.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the food in it. Oh, so I said one day I was just like, let me see. I was like, do they got let me see if they got an Amish Facebook group. They did.
Oh my God.
The same thing I do with any other group. And then it was director of the Chamber of Commerce. She reached out to me. And she was like, yeah, we'd love to invite you to live in with an Amish family to experience the Amish. So it's opened up a lot of, opportunities, doors for me to experience, actually get to experience.
Did you have to grow your beard out for that?
Look, hey, no, I didn't. That wasn't that wasn't a
requirement.
Yeah, that was a requirement. There wasn't any guidelines. No, but so it's been awesome. So I can't wait for like the next chapter.
Oh man, well we'll definitely follow you, and hopefully we can link back up when you got some when you get embarked on the next journey here. Well,
Most
hey,
definitely. Where you
hey,
guys?
Chris,
You guys are in San Francisco? Where?
Rob's in the
Yeah, I'm in the Bay Area right now. Yep.
in San Jose.
Jose?
I'm up in the Seattle area, right across
Gotcha.
from Seattle. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of
Yeah.
my favorite restaurants is up there. Tai Tung. Tai Tung is Bruce Lee's favorite restaurant.
Oh, really?
Seattle.
There's a lot. That's surprising. I mean, it's not surprising because, like I said, there's a pretty good Asian community. There's a lot of Indian as well, but there's a lot of spots on that side. Over here, it's kind of few. I'm across the water, but there's some good food. I'm trying to think too.
You want to hear something that's interesting?
Yeah.
Something very interesting. You can tell. I remember the first time I came to Seattle. I actually flew to Seattle. It was my first time, and you can see what the demographic is. A lot of cities you fly in just from walking through the airport.
Oh, you're right about that. Yeah.
Think about that. Like when I walked through Seattle, it was mostly Asian, because most of the people that live there work, airport or something like that, or Walmart or something. If you fly into Baltimore, you'll see a lot of black people.
Yeah.
Baltimore, you go to Detroit. It's like, okay, so this, it's very, same thing here in San Antonio. You gonna see a lot of Mexican or Peru, or, so it's very, I don't know. It was just, don't mind me. That's just something.
No. I
was just like, wow, you can really get a sense of what the demographic is.
If you see who's working, who's working at Taco Bell or McDonald's, certain races, then you know where you're at.
Like San Jose's got a huge like Vietnamese, Southeast Asian, Mexican, of course. But that's a hard thing is like I'll say a lot of things like that sound like they're race based, but like being from the Bay Area, it's so multicultural. But I work for the federal government now, so when I go back to DC, it's like white and black for the most part. All professional and all that kind of stuff. And then a lot of like African that are kind of doing a lot of like the like hotel jobs, a lot of cab drivers, airport workers. So it is interesting to go to these places. I mean, it's
those Africans with those bad cab drivers in DC. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Wow. There's a lot of Africans in DC.
Yeah, like a lot of Ethiopia. I mean, it's just
but that's where you get a lot of good Ethiopian. That's where that's going to be.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like you're right though. Like you go to the airport, you'll see what's up like pretty quick.
Yeah, it's cool very, America's really interesting. It's just, you see what I'm saying? See what we're talking about. It's like, wow, you don't hear any part of that. Like how interesting it is. When you go, it's like, I really didn't think about that. Like that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's just people don't, like you said, people don't get out. We just had COVID too, so there's 2 years of staying at home and not doing anything. Yeah. But hey, Kreskin, man, thank you a million for being on tonight.
Yeah, great stories. Good stories.
Yeah, sharing your stories and like I said, I hope we could hook back up when you start the next leg of the journey. So right now you're in Texas.
Yep.
And then
I'm actually I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna move next. I'm leaving here April 6th. I'll be in New Mexico for about a week, and then by the 15th, I'm aiming to be in Arizona, and then I'm flying out of Arizona to Hawaii the 26th.
Oh wow! Look at you, man.
There you go.
I'll be there 2 weeks, and then when I come back, I was 2 weeks, maybe 3. I don't know, because it's expensive. I was going to do a month, but I'm just like, I really want to come. When I come back, I want to be able to do some other stuff. So I'll probably just do 2 weeks, come back, and then we'll see what's after that. I was planning to go back up to like Montana, the Dakotas, because I haven't gotten to do a lot up there, and then it won't be cold, so I might go back up there and do another trip back east because I do want to go visit home, and then after that, I'm trying to decide where I want to move next. I said I would pick somewhere from each region and maybe do like a year and then move somewhere. So it's kind of a dilemma, but at the same time it's fun. It's like, okay, where do I want to move next? Let's say that I move to next. So
dang, that's cool. I have another question, but I don't want to. I was just gonna ask about like, do you feel like the relationship? Do you need to be? I mean, you seem like you're, like you said,
personal life.
Yeah. How's a personal life?
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that's another reason I moved. Like, because it's not happening here in Texas. That's another reason. I want to have a personal life. It's not.
Yeah.
Like I want to go somewhere that's like. that I could have a personal life and actually, because I want to date and everything, but it's just Texas is just different. You know, it's different than what I'm looking for. I'll just say that much. But that's another reason I'm moving. So I'm gonna move somewhere else. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I do, that is on my mind. But until that happens, it's just, you know, doing whatever I do. I said maybe I would find somebody. I hate to say this, but I said that my wife is probably in another country somewhere. I don't know.
That's honest. That's honest. That's cool.
Yeah. It's just gonna be. I just look at it as this. It's gonna be interesting that think about this. Like the person that I'm gonna wind up with is somewhere out there right now. You know, that's interesting. You know, where is that person? Who is that person? Yeah, they're out there right now, and I'm gonna meet them. So who is that person gonna be? So
yeah,
keep doing the ride sharing. You'll find them.
Yeah.
You mostly, and that's the other thing here. Well, specifically in San Antonio, like somebody was like, "Yeah, is it good for dating?" And everybody was like, "If I was gay, yeah." Because it's a lot. I get a lot of gay guys that get. It was like, "Yeah, man, take money." I'm like, you know, but then you're not going to have no women that's going to be like, "Hey, let's go out sometime." No, that's not.
What does Charles Barkley say? He says that they got the big women in San Antonio.
I had churros last night. That's all. I do get hit on a lot of. It is a lot of, you know, because of the food and everything. And
hey, I'm not hating. We're not hating at all. Shoot, that's more than merrier. Yeah,
it's like, you know, I mean, it is kind of a fact. Like you don't see a lot of, you know, big women, and then I mean, if they aren't, like they might be, you know, like younger, like, you know, 20, 21, something like that. You know, if you see their parents, you know, naturally they're gonna be, and it's just because, like, you know, where we are, and you know, like the food that you have
is good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is.
No. I won't include that part, but I was just like,
I just tell it like it is. I mean, I've been hard to, like, it's like, yeah, I've been here, like, I've been here to visit, like 5 or 6 different times, and you know, they actually live here, like, you know, on a day-to-day basis. And most of the, you know, if I do get hit on by like some young lady or something like that, it's usually, or if I'm just driving around different parts of San Antonio, that's mostly, you know, what I see. I'm just like, that's you know, it's not like I just, you know, like you just look up like I was saying before, like the top 10 cities with the, you know, whatever, or biggest women or whatever. It's just like, that's something I'm actually seeing, you know, and I'm actually interacting with different people.
You're gonna have to put that on the app.
You know, the app.
Like, that would be a good filter. That would be a good filter. You'd be like, I like these curvy, you know, whatever hair, blah blah blah.
Go to this city. That's where they got plenty of them.
Yeah, you know, you want to hear something that's interesting is like if you go to like if it's like a dating app or something like that, they'll have for like these different what do you call them? These different descriptions or labels or whatever, categories for bigger women, like curvy, curvilicious, or big and beautiful. Why don't they have that for men?
Yeah,
for men. Think about that. Like, why is it for men? There's no.
Well, well, speaking on like the gay side, isn't it like a bear? Like a bear is a certain type of guy that's like hairy and bigger. But yeah. Oh no, it's I've just heard that there's a term. Yeah, but I'm not saying I've looked those up, but anyway. But but there's I agree with you on that, because like I listen to
but it's just, I don't know. Like I said, I think about it's like all these things for one, especially if you don't like certain women, you know, like it's, it's kind of like a negative thing, like, oh, you're shaming me or whatever.
Yeah.
But what about women? Like, we don't have anything. Like, when you like, you're short, I don't want to date you.
Right.
I think it's coming though. It's coming now.
You know, like, or bald because you call me bald, like, you know. So I don't know. It's just very interesting. Don't mind me. I'm just
no. That needs to be a thing, though. I mean, that you want to have a you want to extract somebody's secrets. You got to talk to the people that are outside the fine line. And you got to ask them, like, how are you successful? You know. Mm-hmm. You're like a little dude. You got like a Napoleon complex, but chicks dig it or something like that. Like, get that inside. But, anyway, let's wrap this up. But thank you very much, Kreskin. That was super dope.
Awesome sauce.
So, all right, drink tokens number 36. Peace. Okay, so I'm gonna do some editing, and then I'll post it in a couple of days. I mean, it's all clean. So the one thing that I'm kind of mad about, that's my fault, is the last part when you took your headphones out. It sounded better than the first part, but I'll try to clean it up. It's I wish I would have known that, but just maybe so we're all smarter for that. But I could take like when I do the recording into a separate audio track, so I'll try to clean it up. But everything was dope, man. So just thank you, super thank you, and good luck out there.
Good stories.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I can talk all night. I can talk all night. I'm just used to it. I mean, and that's the great thing about doing the Uber and everything. People are like, man, so you comfortable? I'm like, because you talking to so many different people, and then you get asked similar questions. Just like you just get comfortable. I'm just like, I'm just used to doing it. But it's been a lot. And there's going to be a lot more coming. So I'm just excited. I'm just enjoying the process.
Yeah,
as I said, enjoy the process of going through. Then you can, because even looking back from now. I mean, from when I started to now, I never imagined I would be where I didn't even have a car. I was
right.
Yeah. My last job was True Green. I worked for True Green, spraying people's lawns and weeds and stuff like that. So it's just like looking back from then to now, like I'm like, wow, like I did not plan, because when I said travel, I was talking about like finally like getting on a plane to Florida or something like that when it got cold in Baltimore. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna finally take this trip. And then it went to like, man, so you did 25, 26 states. You might as well finish all 50.
Yeah.
Like, man, never thought of that. Like, that was never part of the plan. I was like, okay, maybe that's the next thing. So, you never know where life is going to take you. You never know where life is going to take you and who you're going to be. So,
can I ask a Instagram?
I know you guys. If I never left, I wouldn't.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Can I ask an Instagram question? So, sure. I mean, obviously, you got a shit ton of followers. Do you get like hit up for advertising, or are you a contributor where they're paying you or anything like that?
No, I'm still trying to get I'm still trying to figure out how you get a blue check.
Oh yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't got anything like it is. And the other thing I wanted to do was like most of the people that follow me is people that I've actually met.
Yeah, they're real people.
Yeah, like you have, like on YouTube or something, like you'll have like subscribers and stuff like that. But it's just like these are people that I've actually met. Like I have like cards in my car that I hand out, or whatever. I'm about to get like a magnet or sticker or whatever, so I could put it up in my car so people can just scan it or whatever. But every time I pick somebody up, I just like, hey, so they'll usually like, do you got a blog or something? Or I just hand them one of my cards, and they was like, oh, thank you, and they'll start following me. So these are like actual people that I've met. Or I've met on person, and I know a lot more people that might not follow me that I've met personally.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest things, and not only that, I like to do a lot more Facebook and Instagram because I want to know who the person is, versus like YouTube. If your subscriber, is like my username is red 5675, and I met you in person, I wouldn't know who the hell you are.
Right.
Versus like my name is Dan something on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah, man, I follow you from Bend, Oregon. Man, it's David. I'm like, yeah, David, I know who you. Hey, I know exactly who you are. You know what I mean? So, and I think a lot of people like that, and that's kind of what I wanted to do different than a lot of other people. It's like, man, what do you do different than somebody else?
Yeah.
So it's been really fun, man. It's been really fun. But like I said, I'm just enjoying the process and everybody that I meet. But Instagram, I haven't got none of that. But like I have 2 weeks ago, and I'm hoping 2 weeks ago, and this is just me sending emails, not my Instagram, but I found one of the producers for the Kelly Clarkson show. Oh. So I sent my pitch in. I sent my pitch video in and everything. I found it was like one of the guys that was on Facebook. And he was like, man, you lucky you found me. He's like, yeah, I'm old. He's like, I'm just old school. I got Facebook, but he sent me a message through my through a messenger or whatever. He was just like, he's like, yeah, I want to know more about the Rideshare Foodie. Send me, your email and everything. And he got me. He's like, man, I put the pitch videos in, and it takes like 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. But she selects, who she wants to put on the show, because that's one of my big things. I'm like, I want.
Oh my god,
yeah, that'd be huge.
That'd be dope.
Yeah. I never thought of that. Like big time talk shows, like Tonight Show, Kelly Clarkson, whatever. Like
those daytime morning ones, because they love the stories.
Ellen, even something like that.
So I sent it all. So I like usually on Mondays when I'm off, that's usually where I'm just emailing. And like I said, it just takes one yes. And I'm just emailing and finding out who's the executive producer, who's the little guy, whoever's,
whoever's listening that can hook you up a little bit.
Trying to connect you, trying to just send my stuff so people know about it. And then so Yahoo is doing something. I don't know how she found me, but she sent me something through Instagram. She was like, you're doing a Yahoo travel series, so they want to feature, mainly they want to do, when I say Hawaii, it was like, oh yeah. But my trip when I leave here April 6th to like when I come back from Hawaii, she wants me to get as much video and everything. We're gonna put something together and everything for Yahoo. And then I got one of the editors from Travel and Leisure that wants me to write something for the magazine. So
damn,
so a lot of this is just like, so a lot of it is just like I figured it out because I learn something every year. So a lot of it is. So what I do is like with like the Travel and Leisure or Food and Wine or something like a magazine or whatever, is I just go in and see who wrote, like they'll have blogs or somebody who wrote another story. And I'm like, who wrote this story? And I'll just see who that name is, whatever name. Sometimes if you click on it, they might have their email or something. Or I just, copy the name, see if they got an Instagram or something, and I'll just start shooting stuff, here and there. I'm like, okay, they got an Instagram. Let me see if I can, tag them and let them know what I do, whatever. But it's just looking like who's the editor, who's like the small person, that can get me, in touch with somebody. But even with like the news stuff, that was something that I had to, work on. I didn't know they had like because I would like submit here and there, but I didn't know they had like a meet the team. So they would have like the meet the team, but the meet the team is like a list of all of the reporters. And each one, let's say they'll have like a bio, but some might be like, yeah, this person, Kelly, she's a foodie and she just moved from Nashville, Tennessee, and did it, let me see about Kelly. Usually they'll have like their email or something like that, and I'll just shoot like, hey, this is da-da-da, because before I would just, the main studio, I would just submit a story or whatever. Here and there I might do that, but now I just like each person, I'm like, okay, let me shoot something to their personal email.
Yeah, that's good strategy.
And then I'll go take it further. I'm like, let me say Facebook or Instagram, and then I'll usually go that route and tag. And that's how I got this only happened once, but that's how I got this Sacramento Good Day Sacramento or something like that. That's how I got that, because it was one of the locals, and this is the first time it's happened. She was like, she watches that show early in the morning. She's like, I'm gonna send in an email that you're coming in. So she sent the email in, and then I think her name is Julia. She sent me something to my Instagram. It's like, I'm a reporter with Good Morning or Good Day Sacramento and everything when I come in. So when I came in, I was already connected with that.
Oh, that's cool.
And then while she was following me, but the other thing was she was following me from Oakland all the way up. So she saw like the incident with my car and everything like that. And then she told her husband, and her husband he works with who's it? It's like the it was some big channel, but they were like connected with CBS something. But her husband is a reporter as well. And she was like, he called me and was like, yeah, I had an evening show canceled, and my wife has been telling me about, showing me your journey on your way up. I want to do a story too. So he drove down from Sacramento to Stockton, and that's how I got that story.
Wow.
And then he did the story. And then that story, like, kind of, I guess you would call it viral. That's when I started getting all of those followers. It blew up because it was like a national show, and it was connected with a national channel, and it went to like Nebraska, Hawaii, and somebody in Australia said they saw it. Like,
wow. That's super cool.
That kind of, So what I did with that was, when I went to some of these places I hadn't been yet, what I would do is, wherever that story blew up at, I would see what news station showed the story, and then I was like, this is like, I was in Idaho Falls, I remember. And it was a reporter was like, I remember the story. We just had showed this like 2 weeks ago. She's like, I remember this. You the Rideshare Foodie. She's like, okay, I'm gonna meet you at, Like, it was the same news station. And then it was somebody on a radio station in Hawaii that was like, I saw your story. Was it whatever. And then I told her, she was like, let me know when you coming. And so I just contacted her, let her know I was coming. Got my ticket for April 26th, so I can be on there when I get there. So it's just a lot of it's just reaching out, and just
old school networking,
It's just like
Yeah.
that energy is just like transferable. That's
Yeah.
super dope like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's pretty much it's not trying to like, especially when people help me, I'm not like closed off and like trying to keep secrets of like, yeah, you just gotta figure it out on your own. Like somebody else is like, yeah, how did you do this? I'm like, look,
Well, just
I even call the person. I even call the person and tell them about you. So,
Yeah.
Well, everything you explained is a lot of hard work. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
you got to have that mindset to do it. So
Yeah.
I mean, Rob and I, we haven't gotten there yet, but I mean, obviously with you, like it's
hey,
working
if
for
you
you.
need context or whatever, look, I'll put you on. Like I do not mind. I don't.
No.
I just like seeing people blow
Can
up,
you-
man. Like,
Can you shout out? Sorry, I think we should wrap it up here. But I do want.
Yeah.
Can you shout out
Yeah.
your real quick? Shout out your Facebook and your Instagram, and if you have a YouTube or anything else, please do. So that way I can use that.
okay, awesome. So you can find me on the Ride Share Foodie. That's RIDESHARE Foodie FOODIE. These are 3 words. The Ride Share Foodie. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok as well. I just got a TikTok. I was talked into that. The Ride Share Foodie.
Nice.
Everywhere. Just Ride Share Foodie should be a video game. That would be an interesting game. But yeah,
You gotta pick people up, and then you gotta go.
Oh,
you
yeah.
gotta go do
Yeah, that
like
would be
social
cool.
media.
yeah. So that's where. But the interesting thing, I have a guy I know. I'm actually talking to in Pittsburgh that he actually has a video game coming. He has this place called Back to the Future. It's like 80s.
Oh,
90s.
that's cool.
He actually have buddies that what do you call develop video games. So he has a video game coming out. So he's like, look, if you need somebody, when I come back, I'm so be connected with him because I was like, hey, how can I get on with the, look, because I'm thinking about that. This is between me and y'all.
Yeah.
Ride Share Foodie video game where you can pick up people and maybe customize a food truck or like something where I'm surprised there's no game where you can own a food truck, like customize your player. You can customize your food truck. You got to get a certain amount of money, and like you got to go find different events, make a certain amount of money to build yourself up to get a brick and mortar. Like just something fun. So yeah,
That'd be sick.
That would be cool, right? Like
Yeah.
a game like
You
that.
You could kind of mix it with like a Grand Theft Auto, where you gotta like
Yeah,
drive
that's
it
like a
around.
Grand Theft Auto.
Ram some other food trucks.
You got to meet up and
Knock their food over so you make a bigger sale. Yeah.
you got to make a certain amount of money to pay for your permits. Like,
Yeah.
And then you could go to like a lot to buy your first food truck. Your first food truck probably be like Hoopty or something. It's like that would be kind of cool, man. That would be cool.
I know that does sound sick. Yeah, my mom didn't own a food truck, but she owned basically a pickup truck with a box on the back. So that's how we grew up. It's like basically you go somewhere where all they do is make the sandwiches, and you go pick them up in the morning, and then she just be selling them all day long. So again, the hustle out there. But yeah, that's
actually, I'm gonna call him tomorrow about that, man. I'm gonna call him out.
Do it, man. I want to see that game out there.
That's how I am. I'm like, when I have an idea like that, I'm just like, I want to just start putting it in. Because I was just like, that would be, because it's so many people that don't do it yet, that think about doing it. Like, man, what would it be like? Or people that might not want to do it, they're just like, man, like it'll be cool for something. Like, man, it's a game I can actually make believe, feel like I wrote it, whatever. I don't know, like, but I think that would be kind of cool in that like Grand Theft Auto kind of like simulation kind of sense.
Yeah, just driving around and stuff. Hey, I think your mic cut out, but okay, well let's cut it out. But hey, thanks, Kreskin. We're gonna keep in touch, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was a good show. Good one.
Easily I approach the fifth of him because there ain't no joke.